I do it right.
Yeah, you did it.
Hey. Okay, so today I am so glad you all have been patient with us the last couple of weeks, but we back on it. We back on our Sunday weekly check-in unscripted. You have Veronica White and you have Ernest James. Francis wasn't able to join this week, but she'll be back with us next week. So our topic for today is, what are you doing different in 2025? So we're going to talk about some things that we're doing in 2025. And if any of the information that we give today resonate with you, please take it and use it for your whatever you're doing. So let me introduce myself first. Hi, my name is Veronica White. I have a nonprofit. It's called Help from a Sister. We cater to single parents. We help provide the tools and the techniques to help them transition from where they are to where they want to be. And I have Ernest James here, so I'm going to let him introduce himself.
Good afternoon, everybody. I am Ernest James. I am a podcaster, speaker, and author, and I do a lot of stuff. But right now, one of the main things that I'm pushing into is building my private Facebook community called the Deal, Heal, Fulfill community, because my mission is to help people to deal, heal, and fulfill, to deal with your problems, to heal from the pain, and to fulfill your purpose. And so, that's one of the things I'm doing, building this community. So, yep, we having these discussions. We started having these discussions. What we did 2 or 3 weeks. Just coming on, and talking about different things. And so, I think it's just important, just talking. That's all.
Life unscripted, just to check in and let you know what topics we're discussing and what's going on in our lives. So, do you want to start it off, Ernest, and tell me? So, well, first of all, how was your Christmas and New Year's?
Christmas and New Year's was good. Christmas went by real fast, but the New Year's, I enjoyed this New Year. I did something a little different. I stayed in, that's not different. It's different because usually I'm working on New Year's, right? I used to work every New Year's. So this year I didn't work, but I stayed in and I spent it with my daughter. So my daughter is with me, staying with me now. And so I don't think this was the first year because she's been with me for a couple of years, but I don't think we did. I don't think we spent New Year's together last year. I don't remember. But so this year we spent New Year's together. I told her ahead of time, like, I want to bring the New Year in with you. So we're going to stay home. And so we stayed home. We watched movies until the New Year came in. And then we said a prayer, had a moment of prayer of what we wanted and giving thanks and gratitude for coming into this new year. And then we kind of made a toast to, to making it thus far. And then just had a conversation about, where we wanted to go from there. And so, so that's how we started the new year. Me spending it with my daughter, and she, I know she's 21, so I don't know how long she's going to be staying with daddy. They get the hot feet, and then, she might be gone next year. So I'm like, let me enjoy this moment.
That is awesome.
to disappear. So, yeah.
Awesome. Okay, so my Christmas and New Year's was quiet. For Christmas, for the last couple of years, we haven't really celebrated Christmas. I get my grandkids and my children, and we go out of town somewhere. So we go and spend family time. I want it to be focused on us and spending time together versus the gifts. My grandkids really only look for gifts, but they understand that, hey, my Nana is only going to give me a trip for Christmas. So we were in Mexico a whole week. From Sunday to Sunday, the kids had a ball. They enjoyed it. We didn't have breakfast together because my grandson and my daughter is up early. My grandson sleeps late. So she was in charge of Lit DJ, and then I had Dayon. I'm up early. They aren't up early. We going out to have breakfast. Lunch was kind of just scattered because the boys didn't want to get out the pool. And then we had dinner together every night. So
I want to go back to something that you said, a comment that you made, and it just made me laugh when I think about our realities and what we're trying to build for our families and for our family legacy, and just the difference, right? So you made a comment. You said my grandkids only look for trips for Christmas. So that is just, even to have that comment, like, oh, we just going to Mexico. You know what I'm saying? Oh, we just go, you know what I'm saying? And it's like the dynamic that we do when we are working to change our legacy and our family legacies. I look forward to Christmas when I was younger for all the gifts. But I can imagine, what if that was my reality? Like, oh, we just going to Jamaica for Christmas. You know what I'm saying? And say it just like you know, you know what I'm saying? Because it's their everyday reality. But I think that goes to show the vision that you had and the work that you've put in to make the reality of the next generation so much different than ours, you know. And this been to have a conversation, sort of kind of going into what we're talking about, that I've been having the last couple of days. Even today, you know, I went by my brother's house and I supposed been like a little 10-minute thing. I was running in to do something, run back out. We ended up talking for like 2 hours. You know what I'm saying? About pretty much the same thing, and of changing what we're doing, what we're trying to create in our lives, but that was going to benefit, you know, generations to come, you know, in our families. And so kudos to you, you know, to just forming that reality. This is like, yeah, this is going to be a everyday occurrence. Like, it's not going to be a big thing. And I remember listening to not ET, but CJ.
Oh, CJ.
CJ, ET, Eric Thomas, Dr. Eric Thomas's, you know, right hand man, and he was saying the same thing, basically the same thing about the experience that he had with his kids, listening to them talk. And I think they were in Italy or something like that, and they was like, man, we got to do something. His son said he wanted to do something, and his daughter just like, well, we'll do it when we come back next time. And he said, his son said, next time, well, when is that going to be? And she said, next year, you know. And he was like, just to hear that conversation, you know what I'm saying? Like, in their mind, like, this is normal. Like, yeah, we'll be back. You know what I'm saying? Just to be able to change, you know, put in the work as the adults, as the visionaries, to change the dynamic of our families to where what definitely wasn't normal for us and hasn't been normal for us to become a normal everyday occurrence for the generations after us. And you know, kudos to you. We are on that journey. I ain't got there yet, but we're working on it.
Oh, awesome. Yes. And you know, my grandson, I asked him, because we were planning, okay, what are we doing next year? Where are we going next year for Christmas? He said, Nana, I want to go to Fuji.
Fuji, okay.
Said, okay, well, how long is that plane ride? It's like 20 hours. Now, my other grandson is nonverbal, so I'm like, I don't think we can put Dayan on a flight right now for 20 hours.
Right
now. We can go to Aruba. So next year, our family will spend a week in Aruba for Christmas. But what you're saying makes sense. And I want to say a couple of years ago, I started changing the way we've been getting together for Christmas for a minute, but I started going over not only planning out our year, but looking at our finances. Where are we at? Doing a profit and loss statement for the year and setting goals. Each person had to set 2 or 3 goals, and we discussed them and we figure out how can we help each other reach our goals. So that I implemented a couple of years ago. And we've been doing it. And I also included last year my grandchildren in it. Like, they have goals, some things that I need to help them get accomplished. So for my grandson, DJ, one of his goals last year was reading more. And my daughter Sierra was supposed to FaceTime him and they read together. So that's how she's going to help him do the reading. Now this year, and she started last year too, calling him doing his homework because he gets homework packages for the week. So she called him because she lives in New York and they're on a Zoom or they're on a FaceTime call and she does his homework with him and then they do the reading together.
So. I like that. I'm keep on jumping in on things that you said because it just the alignment is just perfect, right? So that's one of the things me and my brother was talking about. So he has a house. He bought a house, him and his wife, and their kids still stay with them, but he has adult children, and so young adults, but still adults. But just in the conversation we're having, he was like, all of us work. You know what I'm saying? If we just put $100 from each of us together each month, or every paycheck, however, and then take that money as a family and say, okay, what are we going to do with this? Where are we going to put it? What business are we going to, invest in and things of that nature? Just having that similar conversations is like, yeah, this is what we need to be doing with our families. This is how we should be going. And you mentioned about, asking and talking to your family about their finances. And I just want to mention this in our last entrepreneurship meeting, which we have a small entrepreneurs group to the audience that doesn't know that we meet once a month. But one of the young ladies is doing a vision party. I don't want to call it a vision party. She's doing a virtual vision board session, but it's for financial vision. What is your financial vision? Going into the new year, because everybody starts with the new resolutions and what they want to do. And she was like, but they don't always take out the time to think about the finances that it's going to take to make that vision come to life. And so that's one of the things that she's doing. And I've shared it in my community. And actually tomorrow I will have her on in the morning when I do my 9:00 live. She's going to come on with me as part of the community to number one, introduce her to the rest of the community. But then also to talk about that and, be able to invite everyone to come to be a part of that. So I'll make sure that we even put that link in the comments, under this video, so that, people can come, and join that. It's already on Facebook. So we're on Facebook anyway. It's already an event on Facebook. I want to say it's a financial vision board or something like that. I don't know exactly off the top of my head, but we'll make sure that we put that in the descriptions or in the comments of this live, because I want people to, I'm doing it. She's offering it. So it was the first time that I really thought about it. But definitely going into this new year, again, doing things differently, but now it's like, oh, that's the thing now. Let me take advantage of that. I have this vision of what I want to happen, but just like she said, but we rarely do we actually take out the time to see what the financial vision is, like what financially has to come to part for you to be able to do everything else that you said that you wanted to do.
And that's true. I love that. And you know what? And I recall her being at our meeting talking about it. And in my mind, I only heard the vision board. I didn't hear the only finance part of it. I'm thinking, oh, this is the whole vision board. But speaking to Frances yesterday, she was bringing back to my remembrance was, no, the young lady is talking about finances. And I was like, oh, maybe I missed that part. But I like the idea of the vision board. And when it comes to finances, I'm going to put it out there, because when we were starting off talking about things we want to get done in 2025 and doing a 5-year projection for where we want to go, one of my goals was I want to have $10 million in assets. So I've been putting together a financial part for each business, how much I want to generate for years. And when I tell you it works, you might don't hit it on the time that you set, but it don't matter, long as you hit that goal.
Right.
So if it takes me 10 years to get 10 million in assets, that's fine, because I already broke it down and said when I have 10 million in assets, I only want to spend or utilize 15% of that.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's like 100 and some thousand. That's it. The rest I wanted to keep going and make more money.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I like that idea. And I think I had said everybody should try to, if they're available, just tune in and let's see what she had to say.
Yeah.
And you also just mentioned you're considering doing a Zoom talking about some things that you have planned for 2025 and how you're going to put it all out there and say, hey, these are the things I'm working on. If there's anything that I'm working on that resonate with you and you feel that you want to help me with it, let me know and let's work on this together. So I like that as well. And I was like, I'm going to get notes from your session.
Yeah, so I got the idea from a friend of mine. Those who know, who follow me, of course, know that I'm a part of an organization called the Forgiveness Mission. And we do free virtual workshops every other month, talking about forgiveness, right, in different areas. And so we actually have one coming up next month, February. We got one coming up. So make sure you guys go to forgivenessmission.com to register, or go to Eventbrite and you can register there. It might even be a event on Facebook too that you could just sign up that way. I don't know, but anyways, it's called Forgiveness Mission. But one of the things that she did, I don't think it was last year, maybe the year before, is she, brought a group of us together who she felt could be instrumental in helping her with this organization, and basically did just that, like brought all us together and said, look, this is what I'm doing. This is the areas that I could use some assistance in. And would you be able to help me? And are you willing to help me? And what ways can you help? And so coming into this year, I really wanted to kind of focus on, okay, what are my areas that I want to move forward in, and really sit down and write that out and see what that looked like. And then I'm looking at it and I'm like, okay, there's a lot of moving pieces and it's a lot to be done. And if I can do it, you talked about that, your, vision for the future. I'm like, if I can do it and really get it going, this could be a life-changing year. You know what I'm saying? Financially. And so I'm like, okay, I got to get my people together, And so I had like 25 people that that was my original group. My 25 people that I written down, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna reach out to these 25 and have them on the Zoom call. But then I started thinking about it, and I was like, well, since I started my community, the Deal Heal Fulfill community on Facebook, my community have grown within the last 2 weeks. So when I started doing my lives and really started being active in the community, a week or so ago, I was at 100 and something members. And we've already grown to over 400 members in just 2 weeks, and I'm like, you know what? I don't know who all I even have in this community that may be willing to help, you know what I'm saying? And willing to be a part of it. So I said, well, I'm definitely going to reach out to my 25 core members, but then I'm going to open it up to my community and to whoever, who decides to join and see what I got going on and possibly be willing to help or donate or, whatever that they're willing to do, however they're willing to participate. But just taking that, like, you know what, let me expand my, even expand my thinking. Like, yes, I have a core of group of people, but you never know who may be waiting in the background. It's like, oh, I can't do this part, but I can do this, And like I said, even with just the simple support, like, you might not be able to be a part of everything, or you might not be able to financially, invest, or you might not be able to, help, with any of it. But just to support, what, I'll join your community. I'll invite others to join. I'll share your posts. That within itself is so much support when you're doing something, especially online, whether you got a YouTube channel or podcast, whatever you're doing, just a simple, I'm going to join myself. I'm going to share with others and invite others to join. That within itself is $1 million worth of support to those of us who are trying to build something.
Thank you. I agree. So I need people to do that as well. To like my videos and
Mhm.
share the information. That's
Yep.
awesome. Okay.
And it don't cost nothing.
No, it's free. And you might hear some information that's going to help change your life in reference to credit, business, personal, like family. There's a lot of things we discuss, a lot of
Yeah.
topics.
And
So,
I stayed up late yesterday actually. So inside my community, I was just doing my regular things, and then I was looking at it, and it was they have a tab called guides, and in that tab is like, all right, you can create a guide to help people do different things. And I had somebody contact me recently, which happens all the time since I've been doing the podcast, and it was like, how do I start a podcast? And so I was like, I was kind of directing them. Then I was like, well, let me just put this information in my community. So I did a tab for how to start your own podcast. Then I was like, well, let me just start a tab for everything that I'm doing. So I did a tab for how do you start a podcast. I did a tab for beginning entrepreneurship. And then I did a tab for books because I'm always reading. So I'm referencing different books. And then a lot of my guests on the podcast have written books, so I put their books in there, and so just like you said, by joining the communities and getting involved, you're going to find information that could possibly change your life, and if not necessarily change your life, it definitely can change your circumstance by just helping you with what it is that you're trying to do. So if you're trying to start a podcast, or you're trying to do different things, just by joining like-minded people and joining in the spaces where they are, like it means a lot. And I ain't gonna talk your ear off, but I did want to say this, because just by making that comment, we are proof of that,
correct.
because we met at a David Chance was having a one of his podcasts. He came to Chicago doing a podcast event. Me and you and some other people, whatever, but we were front row in that podcast. You were sitting to my left. Another gentleman was sitting to my right, named Marcellus Griffin. But
Okay.
you were sitting to my left, and along with Erica.
Erica.
And from that event, we stayed in contact with each other, and then we started coming together as a small entrepreneurs group. And then we've been doing that for like 2 years now, almost. And
It's
then
going on, yeah, 2.5 years.
And then I connected with the gentleman that was on my right, who was Marcellus. And when I started joining the speakers group, I invited him to join it, and now he's joined that as far as being a speaker. But one of the things that I wanted to do was get into mentorship, and he was a part of Champ's mentorship, male mentorship program in Chicago, and he told me about it. I joined that. You know what I'm saying? So just by us being in the place of like-minded people and joining, we've grown with each other to a podcast. I got a podcast. You have a podcast now. He has a podcast now. We all are entrepreneurs. You know what I'm saying? But it all started with us not even knowing each other, but taking the initiative to be like, you know what, I'm gonna be on the front row at this event. You know what I'm saying? And then all of us sitting next to each other, and now all of us are still connected and still growing together years later.
That's true. But let me go back on some things you were saying, because
Mhm.
it's in line with things that I'm doing for 2025 for documentation. So you're saying, hey, I created a guide for books, how to start a podcast. So let's go back to the books. So the books you're reading, you can create, you have the guide already, put it on your Google Drive. And when you get to a certain point, like what's his name? Matty J,
Mhm.
the how-to documentation process, you can start bundling those up, not now or whenever you're ready. And that's a extra revenue stream because you've already done the work. You put it together. Most people need that information, and some
Mhm.
people is willing to pay for it. Right there, that's additional something.
Right.
But are you already doing? So I wanted to piggyback on the document process and how it's very important whenever you're doing something or starting something to document it. I don't think I've documented a lot of things. Like I know it, so I do it unconsciously. But now, 2025, I want to document everything. I've even asked my assistant to go back, and I created a Google Drive, Google Sheets, to say, hey, every task or assignment I give you, I need you to write it down. When you start it, when you finish it, where is it stored? I want to be the owner of every document. Whatever documents that I don't own, I need you to put them on my drive so I have access to it. So now, 6 months from now, if I go back and look, what are some things I asked her to do? Or where is this file? I already have that document. And I told her, I need you to go back from when we started collaborating and put everything on there. So now she's going to start documenting from the early part of 2024 and going forward. Now for me, I'm only going to start from 2025. And my way of documenting whatever task or thing that I'm doing, I want to do like a 1-page write-up on it. So I can give this sheet to someone and tell them, hey, do this for me. And you should be able to get it done the way I did it because I just documented it. And if you can't, I need to take it back and then make some changes and update it. But that's the only way I'm going to be able to document it. So therefore, I can pass it on. Because I do a lot of stuff. And my daughter don't know half the stuff I do.
Mm-hmm.
But
and I'm going to interrupt you. But again, since this conversation been up in the air, that was one of the things that me and my brother talked about this morning, because we have a friend of ours who we're close to their family, and their father and mother built like several businesses, right? And then the mother passed away, and so the father is getting older also, but none of their children became active in the businesses that they created. And it's like, you guys got to become active in this business because your mom already passed away. If the dad passed away, and nobody gonna know nothing, you know what I'm saying? And y'all gonna end up losing all of these businesses, you know what I'm saying? That's already being that has already been created. And we even talked about in our family, my dad was a mechanic, you know, and so he was always working in the garage. And so his thing was, to us, he always said, I'm not going to make you do what I do, but you're going to have to learn to do something. But we are having a conversation today, like, what if he would have made us learn it? You know what I'm saying? He has 4 sons. It's 4 of us. So what if he would have made us learn it, and all 4 of us worked with him as we got older to build this company? You know what I'm saying? That you would have 4 sons to keep it going. You know what I'm saying? Even to the point that if we decided, because I'm in construction, so I work with my hands. My brother's a truck driver. He works with his hands. My other 2 brothers, they probably not gonna work. they ain't doing no physical work, not too much.
But they younger though, right? Are they younger than you and your other?
They're younger than me. They're younger than me. So I'm like, but even with that, even if he had made us learn it, and we turned it into a family business, at some point, you know, we could have just began to manage it, right? So it's not even the fact that we were working it. We could have built it. And then like now, because I was having a conversation with my dad, which is why we were talking about it, because I was telling my dad, hey, I was working on my car, whatever. And he was like, yeah, y'all didn't come in the garage and stuff when I was working. And I said, well, Dad, we still was, because when I was a teenager and I got a little older and we got our first cars, I'm like, we was right out there taking the engines out and, you know, all that stuff. But it was just the fact that we were talking about it. I was talking about it with him. But I'm like, man, if you had made us learn, you know, what it was to be a mechanic, learn how to fix the cars, and we started it as a family business, because he was doing it anyway, you know, working out of his garage fixing cars. But if we had to turn that into a family business, it could have gotten to the point where, just like he does now, because like now he's retired. But if I need something, I'm like, Daddy, I need you to come watch me do this. You ain't got to do it, but just make sure I'm doing it right. And I'm like, you could be doing that as a supervisor in your own business, had we had that mindset at that time. And so, yeah, but we were just having that conversation today. Like, we really got to start bringing our families in and locking them down. But like, look, we got to get locked down as a family because there's a lot of us that's doing things, that's moving, got these moving, businesses or ideas and stuff. And if something happens to us, we're going to lose all of it because nobody knows what we're doing, and nobody knows how to keep it going. And so, yeah, we got to start having those conversations.
So document the process. And now we're going to create a guide of how to document, because that's what I'm about to work on. I'm documenting everything as far as my routine once a month when I'm collecting rent, when I'm consulting with a business, how to create a business. I'm going to do all the steps. How to every month go and see who paid rent, who didn't pay rent, what bills you need to pay for the buildings. Matter of fact, I just got through not too long ago today looking over my receipts for the rehab project, figuring out how much we spent on paint, how much we spent on this. So someone has to be able to look over all the documentation and then assess it. Not just let somebody else spend your money and you like, oh yeah, well, I budgeted for 50,000 and they spent 45, but they probably could have spent 40 if you was looking. You could have saved the extra 5,000, but you didn't document it or go and review it. So 2025, I want to cut back on some of the things I'm doing, document more. So by me cutting back, I'm letting go of the book bag giveaway. We've been doing it 4 years. This would have been the 5th year, but no, we're going into a different direction. The food giveaway is about to slow down and we're not going to be doing the food giveaways. I still will do Toys for Tots. And we're doing a single parents conference. Now I want to provide the tools and the techniques to help people change their lives. So therefore, I felt like the things I've been doing in the past was just putting a Band-Aid on it. It's helping people, but it's helping them at the surface level. You can buy a man a dinner and you feed them once, but if you teach them how to fish, now you feed them for life. And I want to start providing the information that can change your life, that can help change your situation and your circumstances. So therefore, if you want to give back, get to a point where now you're doing 1,000 book bag giveaway a year. You're donating this. You're taking your whole family to Jamaica or Florida. Like I've done those things and they're great, but again, it's just surface level. Now I want to really make an impact and change lives.
Yeah, and I want to tap into something that you just said, right? Because sometimes we don't understand that every time that something that looks like a setback is not a setback, but it's a setup, right? And sometimes in business or in creation, when you're trying to do something in the world, sometimes you have to go back to some of the things that may be good things, but it's no longer serving you in this new season. So in 2019, right before the pandemic, I started a moving company. Right, I started a moving company. I've started with a little S10 pickup truck that I had bought, and then God blessed it anyway. Because as soon as I decided, okay, I'm gonna start this business. Right, I ain't got nothing but a little S10 truck. A little S10 truck. I went and bought me some Dickies. I went and had some T-shirts made. I'm like, I'm gonna start this business. I put it out on Facebook, like, hey, I'm starting this moving company. A lady called me the next week that worked for Sears. And she was like, we're in the midst of doing a transition. We don't have our delivery person no more. Would you like to deliver for Sears? So number one, just starting out, just decided to start where I was. I ain't had no big truck. You know what I'm saying? I had a dolly and a little S10. And that ain't even a big truck. That's the little trucks. You know what I'm saying? But I started it and I started doing these deliveries. And I will rent a U-Haul when I need it to help to actually move a house, help someone move. I would rent a U-Haul. I think it was probably less than about 4 or 5 months before I was able to buy an actual box truck, right? And then, we really was able to move around because now we could put multiple things on the box truck, and move it around that way. But going back to what you were talking about, as far as the pivoting of it, I got to a point coming into this year, I'm like, I need to sell this truck. You know what I'm saying? And people are like, why'd you want to sell it? Whatever. I'm like, because it's not serving me in this new season that I'm in. Is it a good business? Yes. Is it profitable? Delivering furniture, you can deliver all kind of stuff. Yes, it's profitable. But where I'm going, it's not in alignment anymore to where I'm trying to go into the next season. And sometimes we have to make those decisions. Like, you know what? Yes, it's good. Yes, it's profitable. Yes, it was making me money, but I have to let it go in order to get more. I have to let it go in order to do more and to accomplish more. And so just like you had to make that decision, like, you know what, I'm no longer going to do this good thing. It's good. But in order for me to do this great thing, I have to let that go. And so I just wanted to point that out because sometimes we have to make that pivot in our lives and be like, hey, what I'm doing is good, it's working, but where I'm going to have to let some of this stuff go. As even though it's positive, I'm still going to have to let it go in order to go to what I'm trying to do in the future.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. That is amazing. And then we discussed fasting, and you had mentioned something about the acai bowl.
Yeah, I heard you mention about that you had did, and I'm like, what is that? I don't even know what it is. But definitely going into this new year, I do want to lose some weight. I've been trying, right, and I am grateful that I'm not gaining weight, right. So I stay right within this 10-pound window, and my weight just go up and down within those 10 pounds. So it's not going, what I'm saying? I'm not gaining weight, but I'm not losing it either. You know what I'm saying? So you talking about fasting, which I'm definitely going to get more into fasting this year. I used to fast a whole lot, and I kind of got away from it, which is probably why I got to lose some weight now. So I need to start fasting again, and I will start doing that more in this new year. But you were saying you started the year off fasting, and now you're doing some other healthy choices.
Correct. So now for 2025, my goal is I'm fasting the first 3 days of every month. So from the 1st to the 3rd is straight liquids. Maybe a smoothie on the 3rd. But yesterday I didn't do a smoothie. On the 3rd, I didn't do a smoothie. I didn't do a smoothie until the 4th, the afternoon. And then for dinner last night, I made an acai bowl. So that's my whole 2025, every month, the first 3. Now I'm preparing for 2026. In 2026, I'm going to be fasting 1 day a week. So 24, maybe 30 hours, no food, straight prayer, meditation. And I just need to be a little more focused. And with my focus, I want it to be mind, body, and spirit. So I need everything to be in sync, and I need no distractions. And I'm helping my body as well because I'm giving my digestive system a break. And I was talking to someone about that, and he was like, well, Veronica, do you have a glucose reader and a blood pressure machine? I was like, no, I'm not pre-diabetic or anything. He said, no, but because you're fasting, you still need to know your numbers. And I'm like, well, I go every year and get my blood. Matter of fact, I have my annual review coming up this Friday when I'm sitting down with my doctor and we're discussing some things in reference to the partnership we have in my health. But he was like, no, you need to get that. You don't only need to check your numbers once a year. You need to check them once a week. He was like, if a person that didn't know that they were had high blood pressure, check their pressure, they might not know they shouldn't go and have that piece of fried chicken. Like they might do some things differently. I was like, oh, I didn't look at it like that. So when I go to the doctor Friday, I'm gonna tell her a prescription for the glucose machine and the blood pressure machine, just so I can check it once a week myself. Now, I do know what that glucose. Do that mean I gotta nick myself? Is there a machine they have that don't? I
I
can't
don't
see.
think so. The only one that they have now, it still does somewhat, but it connects to your arm, but it stays there. Once you put it stays there, and then you could just read it off your phone. So you only got to stick yourself once. But if not, then you gotta stick yourself every day.
Nah, then I don't know. I'm gonna have to figure something out because I don't think I can do that. Now the blood pressure, that's just putting it on there. I can check that, but I'm not gonna be sticking myself. Now I do
Well,
go.
so I do check my sugar. And they with the instruments that they have, even with the sticking yourself. First of all, like the tips of your fingers are really sensitive anyway, so it doesn't take much to just nick it to get enough blood. You only need a drop to for the meter to be able to read it. But the instrument that sticks you, you can adjust to how far it sticks. So you only got to just break the skin pretty much. And so it's not even going to be like, like you stabbing it. It just going to be a little second, little pink. You know what I mean? And it'll be okay. Of course, when you first start doing it, it'll take some getting used to it. But after you do it like once or twice, it's like, oh, it's not even that serious. It's just a, quick little dip, and then it'll come out. So yeah, it's not a big thing. You can do it.
Hmm,
You can do it.
we'll see. We'll see. But I mean, I want to know my numbers because I'm in control of my health, but my doctor assists me. It ain't the other way around. They don't dictate. I kind of say how I'm gonna do things, but I want to know my numbers all around when it comes to my personal health, which is also my wealth.
Mhm.
That's priority. And then when it comes to my finances, like where is my money going? Every now and then I'll sit and I'll do an audit as well. Where am I spending money on? And how can I change it? Sometimes it's not making more money, it's just spending less.
Mhm.
So an example of one thing I cut back in 2024 was I drink a lot of water. Love it, right? I think that's the best thing to me. And I was buying water. I spend maybe $100 a month on just water every month. And I finally looked and was like, wow, I'm spending $100 a month on water. My refrigerator had a filter. I still got to change the filter twice a year, but I wasn't using it.
Mhm.
And I want to say May of June of last year, I said, I'm no longer buying water. I went and bought these cups. I got served around the house and in my cars. And I only fill up from my refrigerator. So now that $100 a month that I was spending on water, I'm not spending anymore because I went and I checked my finance. That's just one thing. I also cut out cable. I think it's years ago. Streaming. So now I forgot what it's called, but my brother has me hooked up with some. I pay $169 for the whole year, and I get all the channels and everything. And every year, I just have to pay this $169, and I pay internet. That's it. People are paying $200 and $300 a month for cable.
Yeah. Yeah. And so two things that I want to mention what you said. One, talking about things that you cut out. So I don't even watch TV, right? So I'm like, the only thing I watch is like YouTube videos generally, something that I'm looking up, trying to learn something, whether it's podcasting, whatever. So I'm always watching YouTube videos. So I'm like, all I really need is internet, right? And then so I'm like, well, just let me get internet. And then with the TVs, the smart TVs, it already has different things on there and channels and Netflix and things that's already on there and even live TV. So I'm like, you don't even got to pay for cable. All you need is internet and just use what's on your TV. Because as far as for me, like I said, I don't really even watch TV anyway. I'm always watching something that's on YouTube because I'm in this space where I'm growing, So I'm like, if I'm not learning, I'm rarely watching anything just for entertainment. I'm like, at this point, I've been entertained enough, right? And we got to get to a space as a people, cut out the entertainment. Let's get some education. You know what I'm saying? That's why we're in the positions that we are because we're always being entertained. Shout out to my man Kevin Ferguson. And Kevin Ferguson, Mr. Great Day, he's a speaker. And one of the things that he says is what entertains you trains you. Again, what entertains you trains you. So the things that you're watching, whether you're paying attention or not, or you're thinking that it ain't having no effect on you, it's having an effect on you. You know what I'm saying? And you'll find yourself doing stuff and you'll be like, why did I do that? And you realize it's from what you've been watching. Whether from the dances or how you dress and all this stuff that you probably never would have done. But now you find yourself, oh, let me put this outfit on. You're like, you didn't used to dress like that, but you've been watching these videos and that's how they dress. And so now in your mind, that's what looks good because you've entertained yourself long enough to now you train like, oh, that's what it's supposed to look like. So I want to talk about that. The other thing you mentioned about finances. So I'm reading this book,
30
Day Money Cleanse, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm reading this book, and I also signed up for a program. There was an actual program that I signed up for. So two things. One, not only am I reading the book, but I signed up for the program. The book itself probably only costs like $20, right? Okay. I had this book months before I signed up for the program, right? And it just sat on my shelf. And so when I was approached to do the program cost $200. And I was like, I'm gonna pay the $200 because that $200 is gonna make me pick this book up. You know what I'm saying? Because I already had the book. I'm like, no, I'm gonna pay the $200 because I'm not gonna waste my $200. So now that's gonna force me to do what I need to do with this book. And so even with the program that I'm in, one of their things is that you will free up or find, $500 or more, or they'll give you your money back. And a lot of it is just a mindset shift, right? Yes. And so when I was like, all right, I'm finna go into this thing, I actually did something that I had been saying I was going to do a long time ago, which is actually sit down and go through my bank account and see all the like subscriptions and things that I don't even use that I'm still paying for. And so I sat down and just started going through my bank account like, okay, I'm get rid of this, get rid of that, stop that, put a halt on that. And once I did that, when I added up how much that just by doing that and not even reading the book yet, but just by in preparation to start reading the book and doing that, I already saved myself within this year just by cutting those things out a couple $100.
I'm seeing $300 to $500 in.
Yep. Yeah. It's like $300 to $500 just by cutting out stuff that I wasn't using anyway, but that I had been paying for. But it was just that mindset shift, you know what I'm saying? And doing something that's going to make you move forward. And so even going into, of course, we are in a lot of the same communities and different things that we do. And one of the things that we know is that if you don't pay, a lot of times you don't pay attention. So I had the book. On my shelf for like a month or so. You know what I'm saying? But I walked right past that book like, yeah, okay. But I paid $200 so I can pay attention. And that $200 I've already saved just by switching my mindset and making that investment. So yeah. And I'll put the link to the book in the description too for this for this talk. And we've been talking a lot. Y'all better make sure y'all write some of this stuff down. I'm gonna have to go back and watch it myself. We've been dropping some gems up in here.
No, that is true. And yes, definitely. We've been talking for 48 minutes.
I thought we usually do 30 minutes. I look at that and say, well, we almost been on here an hour.
But good information, and it's some information to help start off the year. Let's change some things, increase our income, decrease our expenses, and change our lives and the people's lives around us going forward for 2025.
One of the things that we're working on to change some lives that we did last year that we're doing again is the Single Parents Conference. And so we're gearing up for that. So tell the listeners a little bit about that and what that's going to be about.
Oh, awesome. Yes. So we're doing our second annual Single Parents Conference in April. I'm trying to get the same location. I sent the filled out the request form for the Discovery Center.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be set up a little different. We're going to have a total of 4 speakers. Mm-hmm. I'm going to be the one that close out the show. So, hey, I'm putting myself out there.
Kudos on that. Yep.
Yes. Ernest is speaking. Mm-hmm. And then we're going to have 2 other people speak. We're going to have between 5 and 10 vendors. I'm setting time aside for each vendor to come up and talk for 5 minutes and share their information. We're going to have snacks, not anything too big. So I think last year we had sandwiches, chips. Mm-hmm. We're going to do the same thing. I'm going to do sandwiches. I'm going to do chips, some fruit, juice, and maybe muffins. So the menu I already have set. The resource book, if you want to become a vendor, a sponsor, or if you want to come and help with the event, send me a link on Facebook or YouTube or an instant message or DM. Looking for it. We're planning it now. Every 2 weeks, we have a meeting to discuss everything that's going on, because it's not only the Single Parents Conference, which I'm going to talk some more about that. We also have the Daddy-Daughter Dance and then another networking group that we're all helping with. So for the Single Parents Conference, we're going to speak on information that's going to help transition and change the lives of single parents.
And that's in April, right?
Of 2025. I'm looking at the last weekend. So April 26th, because I want to say April 12th, 11th or 12th, they had something going on at the Discovery Center. So I might be able to get the 26th for the date, but I want it to be in April. And also I found out April is National Autism Month. And we're going to have someone come up to talk about autism and different topics, because one that's hit close to home for me. My grandson is on the autism spectrum. I want to learn more, but I want to share the information I've learned, and let's gather more information, because I don't know it all. And I want to share the information for anybody that's in the current situation with me, or for the people that's just starting out, that has a child that has that learns a little differently, and how can we help them? So I want to provide the resources for that. And vendors, the type of vendors we're looking for the event is finance, insurance. Somebody talk about credit to help parents fix their credit. Someone to talk about insurance. Someone to talk about learning. Let me see, resources for children that learns differently. Mm-hmm. Schools, therapy, like those type of resources that's going to help uplift and educate single parents. And I also want to mention that I want to actually niche down a little further with my non-for-profit, and not only cater to single parents, but cater to single parents that has a child that has a developmental delay. So that I'm working on how to niche down just a little more and bring it closer and see what can I do for that community, because it's getting bigger. I want to say they're saying 6 out of every 10 kids has some type of assistance that they need. And that's huge. 6 out of 10. So however I contribute information and resources to help single parents, because don't get me wrong, I understand it's hard for 2 parents raising kids that one might have that needs special attention. But for a single parent that's already raising kids, and now you have a child that needs a little more attention, that's a lot. So that's the people that I want to help and provide resources for. But
and make sure y'all are following us and keeping in contact with us. on our social media platforms and things of that nature, because we do have a lot of stuff coming up this year that we're working on. And again, we're working together. And I won't start that rant because we'll be on here another 30 minutes. But find the people who you already know, the people that's in your life that is already moving in the direction that you want to move in, and just connect. You know what I'm saying? And so we are working together on several things, including the single parents conference. We are working on doing daddy daughter dance for dads and daughters of all ages, which is something that's dear to me. Those of you who follow me know about my story and the connection to fatherless daughters. And so I want to do something for that demographic. So that's also something that we're doing. And I have a couple other things that I have lined up, speaking engagements and events that we're working on that's going to be throughout the year. So make sure you guys follow us. Follow us on our Instagram pages. Listen to our podcast. Follow us on our YouTube channels. Like everywhere you can follow us, so you guys can make sure you guys can stay in contact with us to be able to take advantage of the events and information that we are sharing. So that being said, Veronica, we've been out here almost an hour, so I think that's good enough for today. So I am Ernest James. I am a speaker, podcaster, and author. My website is dealhealfulfill.org, as well as I would love for you to join my community, the Deal Heal Fulfill community, private Facebook community that I'm working on, because my mission is to help people to deal, heal, and fulfill, to deal with their problems, to heal from the pain, and to fulfill their purpose.
Awesome. And I'm Veronica White from Help From a Sister. Please follow me on all platforms. Help From a Sister. My website is www.helpfromasister.org. Yes, stay tuned. I'm looking forward to checking in with you all next Sunday. Thank you.
All right. Y'all be blessed.